Welcome back to the channel. I had an interesting idea for a video, so I decided to make one. And this is worst horror films of all time. You know, you see a lot of lists of worst horror films of all time, and every list I've ever seen doesn't come close to the list that I have. When I think of the worst films of all time, I'm thinking bad acting, bad technical effects, bad bad story. Uh, I mean, to be the worst of all time, I think you've got to be inept in a lot of areas of the film, not just you didn't like it. Most of the worst lists I see are people that just say, I just hated this film. And there's a lot of films I hate. For example, Black Christmas 2019. I hate that film. I think technically it's okay. It's a glossy, well done movie. I just hate what they did to the story. I hate the woke crap that they stuck into it. Uh, but I don't think it's that it deserves to be on a worse list. I just personally hate the film. Another one, there's like Freddy's Dead. You know those Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. That's not a bad film. Yeah, the CG. There's some bad effects, but I mean, there's a lot of things that technically the film was okay. So I wanted to do this list and then get other people's ideas on what their worst list is. I just think it's an interesting topic. So I'll start with my list. We'll go through it, and you guys can put your list in the comments below. And I just think it's an interesting topic in general. First up on my list is a film called Bloodlock. Uh, this is directed by a guy named William Victor Schotten. These are really, really micro budget films. This one is about a vampire locked in a basement. The acting is horrendous. The story drags. It's 90 minutes, but it probably should have been maybe 50. It's just a horrendously bad. It's a pointless film. I mean, I'm not sure what he was trying to do with this, but it was just a chore to get through. I mean, again, a lot of my worst list is going to be focused on bad lighting, bad acting, terrible script, terrible story, that kind of thing. And I think Bloodlock definitely makes the list. Let's see. By the way, this is my Letterboxd account. I'm under Number Crunch. If you want to see, I've watched 3,600 films since 2016 when I started doing the keeping up on Letterboxd. So it took a few minutes to go through and get this list worked out. Next up, I'm going to talk about Creepshow 3. I think this is a total piece of shit. Uh, I, I hate this movie. I really do. And I thought it was terrible. As far as my actual thoughts on it, it was my first time watching last time. The directors also wrote and produced this pile of steaming shit based on the creator's other credits. I have to say they need to get a day job. That was my review on this one. Anna Clayville. I mean, you can see. I mean, Day of the Dead 2, Contagion, nothing to speak of. James Glenn Duddleson. I mean, these guys need to get a day job. This movie is a total steaming pile of shit. And it's 104 minutes. So they committed the atrocity, the sin of most horror movies, I think. Well, I would say most films, when you get to 90 minutes, you got to be doing something really special to go beyond 90 minutes. So it commits the horrible sin of going above the 90-minute mark as well. On top of the fact that it's a badly acted film, it's stupid, horrible acting. Um, yeah, this is the dregs of movie making right here. Next up is The Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals, directed by, this is a 1969 film by Oliver Drake. I think I watched this on YouTube. It was an unfinished film, thank God. John Carradine had a bit role in it. Oliver Drake did some interesting stuff. I mean, he did a lot of westerns, as you can see. But this was just a steaming pile of shit. Actually, I called it a turd. Christ, this was a turd. Was my yeah. I would stay so far away from this unfinished film. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Another bad one is Birdemic, Shock and Terror. I think this is an inept piece of shit as well. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people find charm in this film. I found no charm in this film. The acting was bad. The, I could even live with the bad special effects of the birds. I mean, but the acting was horrendous. The story was just an absolute chore to sit through. What was the runtime on this thing? 93 minutes. Very close to, yeah, being self-indulgent there. Yeah, this guy doesn't have any business in the making. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but he needs to maybe. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. But filmmaking, filmmaking is not his forte. Let's put it that way. Uh, I just think this is a total steaming pile of shit. I have not seen two or three. I refuse to watch the follow-ups to this film. I won't do it. Maybe some of you guys have, and can let me know what if it's any worse than the first film. Next up is a film I don't remember it other than it's a steaming pile of shit. This is Dead Body Man, 2004. This is a guy that thinks that God's telling him to kill. Ryan Cavallini. He's just done a bunch of shit, basically. This is crap. Uh, These people, man, get a job. Do something. Do something with your life. This is not. Yeah, actually, I gave it a half of a star out of 10, and I was probably being overly generous. 96 minutes this turd ran. Unbelievable. Unbelievably bad. Stay so far away from this one. Next up, I would say Blood Freak, 1972. This is a film about a biker film with you've got this giant turkey monster that goes after drug dealers. It is a real painful chore to sit through. Brad F. Grenter directed this piece of shit. You can see he didn't do much other than that. Let's see what Steve Hawks did. Yeah, I mean, these guys, hopefully they went on to much more productive careers in their life. Let's see. I love the title. Actually, the title was what attracted me to it. It's an amateurish effort, horribly bad wooden acting, a story that moves along at the rate of paint drying. A group of scientists perform experiments on food and use a hippie to test the food and the results. Hard pass on this one. Next up is this is supposedly Savage Vengeance is supposedly a sequel to the original I Spit on Your Grave. It actually has Camille Keaton in it, but oh my God. Donald Farmer, dude. Did you do anything else? He did. Christ almighty. Well, it's crap. What he's done is crap. I mean, this film is inept. 65, and the only thing I do give him credit for keeping it short, because it was a painful watch at 65 minutes. I just remember how bad the editing, the lighting was bad, the camera work was bad, the acting was bad. Oh my God, this is just, if you've seen Savage Vengeance, I mean, I feel for you. It's just a horrible, horrible piece of shit. Hard pass on that one. Most of I think some of these you can watch on YouTube. Vampageddon. What a piece of Dracula. This is a piece of shit vampire movie directed by Jeffrey Allen Miller. What else? He didn't do anything else after this, and I can see why. What a horrible steaming pile of shit this was. Let's see. It's a brutal. Yeah, it's basically an amateur effort. 75 minutes, thankfully. They threw some fairly decent women in there, but nothing was going to help this film. Oh my God. Pass, total pass. The acting is, uh, the thing about acting, and people are probably going to say, well, why isn't Plan 9 from Outer Space on here? Because it's a horrible movie. It is. But there's this intangible factor of entertainment, which is a very subjective thing, right? And that's why the whole movie rating and opinions about movies is opinions. This worst list is my opinion, and it's all subjective. That's the problem. It's not a quantitative art we're dealing with here. So when you talk about Plan 9 from outer space, um, that has a certain charm to it, like a Bruno Mattei film. Yeah, yeah, it's bad. It's definitely technically as bad, but there's an entertainment factor, and above all else, with movies, it's entertainment. If it's not entertaining, then it really is missing the first big hurdle in terms of how you would rate a film. All the films on this list are not entertaining, at least in my opinion. Bruno Mattei is very entertaining. Ed Wood is very entertaining. Um, what else we got here? Did I talk about Bloodlock? I think I did. Yeah, that was the first one I talked about. I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu is a her. I just watched this piece of shit. Meyer Zarki made this film in 2019. He shouldn't have bothered. It was a piece of shit. And he commits the horrible sin of 148-minute runtime. This is the acting is horrendous in this film. Oh my God. This is such an amateur effort. Uh, I don't. It was just a waste of energy and resources. Uh, Definitely don't recommend watching this. I actually have the box set, the 88 films box set of the I Spit on Your Grave film. So I revisited all these films, and finally, this film was in there, so I watched it. Um, it's horrible. Oh my God! It's just the scenes are each scene is 10, 15 minutes extended out with this long, torturous dialogue. I don't know I just don't know what he was thinking, but it's just a horrendously bad, self-indulgent. What's interesting about people that like these art film people that are into the arts, and they indulge themselves in thinking that, well, I'm going to make a longer film because I'm so good at this. It's like it's like they live in a fantasy world. That uh, I don't know why he thought, because he made the first film, that he was actually competent at doing this. But uh, my God, so self indulgent. This is just a real steaming pile of shit. So I hope that yeah. Well, Meyer Zarsky's like, I think he's probably 90 years old now. He just needs. Hopefully, thank God, we'll never get another film from him. And the last film, I'm saving the best for last, and that is Howling 7, New Moon Rising. I have this as my worst film of all time, and I think it has yet to be uh, usurped from this number one ranking. This is a, well, it's a line dance movie, is what it is. It's not a werewolf movie. It's basically 90 minutes of line dancing. It's got the Howling Moon title, but beyond that, it's if you like. Now this this is one. If you like country line dancing, you're gonna love this movie. So I give that caveat. Clive Turner, who's been involved in the series, I believe, for some time. This was his only directing effort, thank God. I think he's Australian. I think this film was shot in Australia, but it is a horrendously bad movie in every aspect. The acting is horrendous. The sets horrendous. Yeah, I actually gave this no rating. I don't think it deserves a rating. That's how bad I think it is. I will mention an honorable mention would be Beneath the Mississippi. This is a shot on Shitio film directed by Lonnie Schuler. It was his only movie, thank God. I hope he went on to be a much more productive human being. This is a film of a bunch of people sitting in a boat that talk about sitting in a boat. 400 minutes. Now, I don't understand how I got I don't understand how I got a 2 out of 10 on this. It really doesn't deserve a rating. Um, I got this. I decided to watch this because the 22 shots of Moods and Heart people. Um, Double Shot Jay was talking about this is his worst film. I don't think it's the worst. Like I say, Howling 7 is the worst. This is just a tedious waste of time. It's pretentious. It's nonsensical. Um, it has no point, and it's overly long. So, but I don't think it's the worst film of all time. But it's right there at the top 10. It's my number 11. Yeah. So if you got that, that's my list, and it's a painful list. I appreciate you guys indulging that, and if there's I would love to hear comments in the comment section below what your list looks like and if it compares at all to mine. I've watched 3,600 films since 2016. I'm sure there's a lot of shitty films that I have not seen, but I think the overarching point is a lot of worse lists are films that don't deserve to be on a worse list. They're technically good. They're films that people just hate. And like I say, the Black Christmas 2019 is the first thing that comes to mind. I hated that film. I don't think that's a bad film though. So uh, the worst list to me has got to be a film that's technically incompetent, badly acted, no story, too long, all those factors to me, bad special effects. I think to make a worse list, it's got to check a lot of those boxes. It can't just be, well, it's too long and boring. I mean, I think it's got to check a lot of boxes, starting with bad acting, terrible storyline, terrible script, incompetent direction, bad camera work, bad lighting. It's got to check a lot of those boxes to make a list. To be fair, you know. So yeah, I thought this was an interesting topic, and I'm going to leave it right there. And I appreciate you watching.